Hey, welcome to the Social 333 podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bentley. Today, my guest is CJ Davidson. CJ, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. How you doing?
Awesome, man. Go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you got going on.
So my name is CJ Davidson. I am the co-founder and CEO of Proxy Financial. We're a comprehensive wealth management and private equity firm. We call ourselves a partnership on purpose. We're building the system of financial advice a little bit differently, and the way that we work together is more in partnership or in collaboration than most other firms. So I like using the deliberate language of, we're a partnership of financial professionals that work in collaboration or individually to provide the services that we provide. Kind of part of the secret sauce, if you will.
You've worked at some big companies. I'm not going to name them, but I have a capital management company, and we're kind of aligned in some ways. But one of the things that I see is that really boutique firms are kind of the trend now. Like a lot of people that are investors, they don't want to go to a big box. And I don't really blame them because they're just going to stick them into a mutual fund. And the person that's selling them a mutual fund, and no disrespect, is usually somebody that has absolutely no idea about the mutual fund at all. They just get told, hey, look, like we're going to sell this fund. It pays us this percentage, and sell it to all your clients.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they go through their due diligence and see how risk adverse that person is. But for the most part, people want to make money.
Sure.
And outside of that, maybe you have some people that have a nest egg and they just want to protect the nest egg, or their advisor's not doing anything. They put them into a fund. The fund sucks. It's taking too much money. Now they want to move that money somewhere. I've also had a lot of people come to me that are just kind of bored. They're like, yeah, like I got into this mutual fund. It gives me X percentage, and it's really cool. But like we had a guest before, like, they start comparing their net worth or their percentage that they get annually to somebody like myself that trades consistently every single day, or maybe they have somebody that they know that at their workplace that is doing something outside of their traditional 401k, and they're like, oh, like, I got into this particular type of stuff, or I got into trading and I'm doing this or that. Talk to me a little bit about kind of your firm and what you're seeing right now with a lot of people that, just like I said, that are like, they either get bored of what they got, or they start comparing themselves to other people, or they're just looking for something different kind of to talk about at the water cooler or whatever, right? Like they're just looking for something else outside of the traditional mutual fund.
Sure. I mean, the business we're in today, I mean, our philosophy kind of circles around, we joke a lot because this is standard practice and thought process, but I part of the reason why we're here today is because it needs to be said, like any financial professional that you work with should be really, really good at what they do for a living. Like that should be a prerequisite. You should not even be entertaining the idea of sharing your personal financial information and going through a process to help counsel and guide them through perhaps the next 20, 30, 40, 50 multi-generational years of their financial life, unless they're really, really good at what they do. I think the differentiator has to be, and the word bored is awesome, right? The experience with your health and your wealth need to be engaging, right? We see this renaissance right now, or this shift to health in the last 10 or 15 years, and it's only snowballing and getting bigger and bigger. As we're recording this, there's some news that's coming out about the way we should be eating and the way we should be taking care of ourselves. And there is a big business in making it fun to exercise, right? Like there is very few ways in the financial sector and the financial part of our life, which I argue is similarly important to your health. It unlocks your ability to live a life fulfilled. That is engaging. That's entertaining. That's exciting. That helps you live a more fulfilled life, not just because you're getting the rate of return you need to be able to buy the things that unlock certain life experiences, for lack of a better phrase, but that experience should enable you to experience and enjoy life in a different way. There's a difference between taking your kids to Disneyland because you can afford it and taking your kids to Disneyland because you know that it's something that is within the construct of your overall bigger plan, right? Saving for something versus making it part of your lifestyle plan is a different way to approach things. And when you're in Disneyland and you're experiencing the joy of that through your kid's eyes or however you're doing it, there's a different emotional connection with that experience. And it's predicated on the way that you approached it from a financial perspective. So this industry, if financial professionals are stopping at, I'm good enough, or my rate of return at the water cooler is a little bit better than my competition, I'm going to win more business, they are missing the entire boat. If we are lucky, 10 years from now, no one's touching portfolios or mutual funds or ETFs or stocks anymore. It's all computers. Where does that leave us? In the most important position that we can possibly be in with the most reward. A trust-built relationship with other humans that need us to live a life more fulfilled. And guess what? We have the tools and resources to do it. We just need the time to be able to think that way and the support to be able to act that way.
I think that's the biggest issue right now is that, or one of the biggest issues is definitely these bigger corporations will hire somebody to go out. And I've heard all kinds of war stories, or they'll go out and be like, okay, now that you got your license, go out and go canvas a certain neighborhood, go knock on a bunch of people's doors and be like, hey, this is Chris Bentley. I work at X company, and I just want to see if you're like interested in rolling over your 401k or having me like sit down and look at your financials, which, if you knock on enough doors, I'm sure somebody will answer and say yes. But I don't really think that's the way to go about business, especially when you get into finances. I don't think it's necessarily a rate of return. I think it's more of just like what you said. It's a personal connection with the person that's helping you and seeing results from that help, and not just and have a game plan and not just be like, oh, well, today I bought this fund, or today I bought this ETF, or today I bought this. And like, awesome, I checked off the box and like, I'm on my way to go play golf. It just isn't that way anymore. And I think a lot of people are starting to look at, okay, well, I have all this information available on the internet and all these YouTube channels and all this different stuff. Why don't I maybe go and learn how to do, trading, or maybe I should learn how to do, understand more about ETFs, or maybe I should go get my license and go work at a firm, right? What are you kind of seeing with that? Are you seeing people that are more open to different types of investment, or people that are looking for not just a status quo? They're looking for something that's, on the edge of blowing up and the next big thing.
First of all, I love the vibe of this conversation. When as you're going through the things that you're saying, you're inspiring so many different thoughts and things, right? This could be 3 hours, I think, right?
I could talk for a while too.
I think there is a wall that needs to be broken down, I think, between needs, wants, legacy, right? The stuff that you need to do to be able to unlock the capability to do those other more fun things. We have some partnerships with some private equity folks that refer us business, and the business is mostly, I want to invest in this private equity thing, right? Not a big fund, probably no one's heard of it, but they've heard about it through something, right? And the most difficult challenge as a fiduciary that our advisors face is giving them the proper counsel to keep them pushed in the right direction, while telling them that maybe, hey, this isn't the right thing yet, or you're thinking about it too much, or you need to do X, Y, and Z before you can take a look at P. And unlocking the ability, the hurdle to be able to start speculating more, to be able to take on more risk in fun stuff or things that excite one, is one, it's a combination of having a boring advisor, a boring financial experience, right? It should be fun to unlock life experiences every year and hit bogeys. Right. And when it's set up that way, that's inspiring. And that oftentimes is enough with those clients that want that more. But it's also about positioning it right to tell them this is not for the privileged, but this is for the prepared. And this is how we prepare you so that if this thing goes to the moon or goes to zero, it doesn't affect the next 40 years of your life. It goes back to that Disneyland experience. Those that invest, that are prepared, they enjoy the experience much more. They lean into the nuance. Private equity with real estate, they're interested in, like, what kind of lumber are you using, and what stage are we at, and when is the opening, rather than, oh my gosh, are we going to make our money back? Because if I don't, I can't send the kids to college anymore. And we run into that a lot. So a lot of it is expectation management, but it's not to tell them no, it's to tell them how. Right? Part of the life and the perspective that you see in this world is that would be fun. So let's approach it the right way and see if it makes sense.
Yeah, one of the biggest things we were just talking about trading earlier with my other guest is that going into something, your expectations, and the amount of money that you're willing to risk. So a lot of people that go into trading, they may have like 10,000, 30,000. Maybe they came into some money from somebody passing away or whatever it is. Or maybe they switch jobs and they're rolling their 401k and they're just going to trade their 401k money. And then they go into a trade, they have no idea what they're doing, and they lose, 50% of their 40,000, let's say, right? And now, and I've been there multiple times, and I'm just kind of calloused now. Is now like there's something inside that's, you deal with that emotion. Like, damn, like I had 40K and now I got 20K, and like the world's gonna end. And maybe like I'll jump off a building or something. Not that I propose that, right? But like you have those kind of like emotions. Like,
Yeah.
How am I gonna tell my wife or my significant other that I lost, half of our nest egg or whatever it is, versus coming up with a more detailed plan. Like, hey, look, this is what we're gonna do, just like you said, and then having those expectations. Like, yeah, you can play in this playground that's over here, but first you have to stay in your playground until you get old enough to graduate to go into that other playground.
Do you buy the vacation home before you invest in your primary residence?
Right.
I mean, I could give. I'm an analogy machine, but
Right.
I mean, it becomes sports betting when you rely on the outcome of day trading, right? Like we all have good and bad stories about that personally with other people, but there is an absolute difference in the mentality and the thought process and the emotional connection to I'm worth X and this is what I need to live a life fulfilled. And this 50 grand over here, like if it disappeared tomorrow under the mattress or poof, like something happened, it would not affect anything. You play with that money. And then if you lose it or it goes to the moon, it's like, well, that was fun. I get to go buy a Tesla or something like that. Right. You know what I mean? Like, but the emotional connection that goes back to the technology thing. We're in a very unique position for those that want to be in this industry or are upset about this industry right now, where if you love people, then all the stuff that gets in the way of you really engaging that trusted relationship and helping to counsel them through difficult and great things is going to be there. Like that's what's going to melt away. All the science, we call it. So we become more artists. We have to individualize the experience. Think about what a pleasure it is to be in the seat that you're in, right? You're the control group in the scientific experiment. And I'm guessing based on the research I've done and watching all your podcasts, you love people,
right?
What a pleasure it is to be able to sit there all day and meet new people and experience their lens and be able to give counsel or push them in the right direction to shape a little bit. What a pleasure. And in our industry, to do that equals making millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's unfair. And we have to respect it for how unfair it is.
Well, it's also a gift, right? And you can't abuse the gift. Talk to me about blockchain, AI, Bitcoin, decentralization. You can go on and on. It's all headline grabbing stuff. If you got somebody that, may not be like your type of client, but maybe somebody that just has a 9-to-5 job and they're looking at, these headlines, and maybe they got somebody in their next cubicle that, bought Ethereum at like, a penny, and now they got like, it's at $3 or whatever it is. I don't know, just making stuff up. Right. And they're just going about their day and they hear all these like big words, and stuff like that. And then, they come to you and they're like, they want to use some of these big words and understand and stuff like that. And they want to jump in the boat because somebody else is making money and they want to do it too.
Sure.
What do you really, I wouldn't say what do you got going on, but like, what do you have with somebody that comes in and wants to do that kind of stuff?
How do we navigate that?
Right.
That gets back to the fun of the business, right? Like our business model is to strip away all of the noise from our advisors day to day so that they can really uniquely approach the client and what that client needs. Meet them where they are. It's kind of in our code of ethics, or our culture code, as we like to call it. And in some cases, that means meeting someone that has a $500,000 net worth and 400,000 of it's in crypto, and they're like, "What the heck do I do?" right? Or has an uncanny knowledge of that space and feels way more comfortable than the average person investing in that space. How do they do it? It goes back to balance. It goes back to looking at it all as a widget, right? That these widgets get you where you want to go. And the proper balance of those widgets and understanding the unique nature of the client gets us to where we want to go. One of the cool things is we go through this process like a scientific experiment where we get down to what the science of the case is. We look at the individual's profile, what they're trying to accomplish, and all the unique intricacies that individualize that household. And then we send it through a Monte Carlo algorithm system. And scientifically, as precise as we know how to do right now, we come up with, from a math perspective, what they should do every single day for the next X years of their life to reach success. And the very next thing that we do is we take the little chair that was on the other side of the table and we squeak it around to the other side of the table and we sit together and we say, okay, let's talk about reality now. How close can we get to this? This blueprint is not based on reality. This isn't based on capability and who we are as people. What feels good and what doesn't feel good. And that evolution, that reshaping of the thought process and the counsel over time is what we really do, right? Like, we're really good at managing money. We're really good at it. We're really good at the financial architecture and estate planning and all the things necessary. Products. I throw that away. I don't even say it sometimes.
Right.
We're great at that. It's useless unless you really care about people and you know who the counterparty is 3 meetings in, and you can actually give them advice that they can lean on. That's what people need. They need you to be capable, and they want to answer the phone when you call. There needs to be like a connection, if you will. And that's the good stuff. So we press it a lot. We get away from the product. We try to, like, that's a widget. Let's see where it ties, and then let's balance the ship to accommodate that imperfection in your perspective.
I have 2 fun questions for you. I was thinking about it. And these are, you can think about them a little bit.
Okay.
But the toughest thing that you learned about leadership. So I could talk a little bit of mine.
Yeah, please.
And then you can go on yours. So, because it's a pretty in-depth question. One of the toughest things I learned about leadership was that what inspires some people totally turns off other people. So I could have somebody that's a high-performing agent, and all that person cares about is buying a Lamborghini and making a ton of money. I could also have a high-performing agent, and all they care about is going home at 5:00 and spending their time with their kids. 2 different high-performing agents, both high-performing, 2 different variables that are really important to them. And it's wild that, I mean, it could be anything. It could be awards, it could be money, it could be Lamborghinis, it could be vacations, it could be time with their kids, it could be going to watch their kids play soccer. I mean, all kinds of stuff. What about you? Like, what is a lesson that you learned?
That one strikes. I mean, and it's like you learn from it, and you move forward with it, right? I've experienced the same thing, but it's like, man, I missed that little gap in my life where I could have enjoyed things a little bit more had I known, right? I think I was going to talk about being part of something and something I learned about other leaders, but I'm going to go in your vein. And I think the biggest lesson I've learned as a leader is that when you're building a team, and you're building a leadership group around a vision, it's not just about capability. I think in 2017, 2018, when we were seeding this thing, it was about finding the best possible person at that certain job that we could really knock people's socks off with how good they are at what they do. And I missed the most important part, which is the culture, the connection between us, the value of the team that we have, which is just as high performing as individuals we've worked with in the past, but the connectivity and the amount we're able to accomplish as a unit, it's like Captain Planet is like, I never understood that. Like, now I get it, right? With our powers combined, like, what the heck? That's real. And I missed that boat early on in And we were really successful in finding incredible, skilled people, but it wasn't mission aligned. They didn't share the vision, and it took a lot longer to get to the place we are today that we cherish so much because of that naivete. It was a tough lesson.
Yeah, I think also I would trade some of that talent. Like if that person wasn't a super high performer and they were just a good solid performer, like a all around like team player, solid person, I would trade that for somebody that was a high performer but just an absolute a-hole.
Same. All day.
Because the person that's like a solid player, what they do behind the scenes for you is so much more than a top performer would do. Because a great player on your team will always be like, oh, like Chris is the man, like he's a great dude, will always talk you up, always be like the one that stops a lot of the infighting that happens. Where I mean, I played it on ball teams, like I know what it's like. So, like a coach will call the wrong play, or the coach will make you run extra laps or do push-ups or whatever it is, and you'll be like, this is BS, coach, right? And that A player would be like, nah, man, like, we're all in this together. Like, we're doing this to get better, not to get worse. And make it so that the pressure's off of the coach. Like, the coach is just calling what he needs to call. But that A player, even though he may not be the start quarterback, he's still like, the leader on the team or a leader in the locker room or whatever it is that takes a lot of the pressure off the leader, I think.
That is an incredibly great, real example of what it feels like when you're doing it right with a team. The feeling of seeing something get done at a higher level than you even thought it would look, and to take the crazy vision, which is a big thing at Proxy, my crazy vision, and turning it into something that not only emulates it, but is better because of the group. Like, that needs to be part of the DNA of any high performing team. You're missing an opportunity. That's the good stuff. I said it twice now.
Mm-hmm. My last question, this is a fun question. You can take some time. But if you can go back in time and fix one mistake that you made, doesn't matter what it is, whether it be on the financial services side, it could be entrepreneurial, it could be personal, whatever it is, that could push you faster to where you are now, what would you do? Or how would you go about fixing it?
And we're going to go with first thought in my mind. This is a good one. This is the first time I hadn't thought maybe you'll ask something like this and thought through it. I'm a big thinker through it, right? I spent a lot of like middle-aged years really living in the present and recapping my day, and like social anxiety or not feeling comfortable with myself, and spent a lot of time with introspection about like, what could I do better today? Or what can I, have done better to approach that? Instead of just enjoying life and thinking about like what's next, right? Like if your heart and intention is in the right place, you Pac-Man experiences throughout life and you absorb, and some absorb better than others, but it's a culmination of these experiences. And I think I spent a lot of time like wallowing in like uncertainty about oneself instead of being able to think forward. And I don't know if there's anything I could have done about that. I think it shapes me who I am today. I think my superpower is my emotional intelligence, right? Like I was really excited about this podcast because in watching 3 or 4 of the setups and the shows, I was like, this guy's a vibe. I'm going to enjoy this. It's going to feel right. Mm-hmm. That's not like, you can't artificially do that. It's either real or it isn't. So I think young in my life, I didn't really have people around me that were in these positions, that were thinking forward, that were thinking big. It was a lot of like introspection and trying to like grind on making myself better when I wasn't really sure of who I was as a person yet. And I wish I would have gotten kicked at the pants a little bit more when I was like in my early teens, like just enjoy life and look forward a little bit, And I don't know why I answered that way. I don't think I've ever said that out loud before. You're inspiring some honesty in me. And I don't know if that's meaningful to your listeners, but like it's a fragile age when you're trying to figure out who you are as a person and you're growing up, boys and girls. And from boys' perspective, I think any role model, male or female, that is sure of themselves, that wakes up really excited about whatever they're pursuing, especially if it's good for others, like let that bleed into other like impressionable minds, right? 14-year-olds are just as sponges as 3-year-olds. You say the F word in front of a 3-year-old, you're probably going to hear it from them in the wrong environment, right? I don't think that goes away when it comes to some of the good stuff. You just don't see it stick because they're emotional humans probably. But
CJ, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, maybe talk to you about setting up their wealth management or just have a cool conversation about life in general, where would they find you?
I think go to proxyfinancial.com. My email and my contact information is there. I miss quite a bit being a financial advisor. It's one of the things I had to sacrifice in building the company, but I get to play into the matchmaker now. I get to meet people and say, I have somebody that's perfect for you. And it's not about how great their rate of return is, but it's about fit, right? You like baseball, they like baseball. They know somebody that might be on your favorite team. Like, why don't I introduce you, right? Let's start with a real connection, why you would hang out with somebody in the first place.
Right.
Because I guarantee you they're going to be good at what they do. So,
CJ, I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Again, we could do this for 3 hours, I think.
Oh, yeah. I love this stuff.